Whew. Did you feel the ground shake over in South Carolina today? Dabo Swinney realized the error of his ways in a big way. He made a move today, and he fired his offensive coordinator. Gasp! Dabo won't do that. He's too stubborn. Oh, well, he did. And not just did he fire his offensive coordinator, Brandon Streeter, he's ready to make a new hire. And it's going to be one of the biggest bombshells that we see in this hiring cycle. Several reports indicate that as soon as tomorrow, we will see TCU offensive coordinator Garrett Riley headed to Clemson. It is hard for me to clearly enough overstate how big a hire this is. Just an absolute grand slam, perhaps even a 5-run homer, if such a thing exists for Dabo Swinney. And let me tell you, it couldn't come soon enough. Because if you look at their offensive output, it fell off a cliff pretty quickly. 2018, let's just go back to the year they won the title with Trevor Lawrence. They skull-drug Alabama out in Santa Clara. They scored 44.3 points per game that year. 2019, they went back to the title game again. They scored nearly 44 points a game. 2020, 43.5 points a game. So they're very steady. 2021, 26.3 points per game. 2022, 33.2 points per game. Do you see where things changed? Can you tell where the coaching staff got shook up a little bit? Garrett Riley, sounds like Jeff Scott's coming in again, maybe in an analyst role. Helps in recruiting a lot more than it does offense, by the way. But Garrett Riley helps on the offensive side. Slam dunk. So I couldn't help but have a lot of you DM me today and say, hey, remember this soundbite? And truthfully, I had forgotten about it, which is one of the many reasons why we have the greatest audience on the face of the earth, because half of our show prep is done by you. We need to go back to December 1st, the year of our Lord 2022. Dabo Swinney was predictably getting drugged because he would not admit that you were right about his program and he was wrong. A lot of people were saying he needed to make some new hires, he needed to get rid of guys, he needed to do this and that. And he essentially, I think it was on a coach's show, he said, hey, if y'all just want to overturn things, if y'all want to do this, maybe I'm not the right guy to be here. He got really defensive. He's a really prideful guy. And I heard some people say, oh, he's going to run himself out of Clemson. Look at him. He's so dug in. He's not going to make any changes. And I never believed that. I thought he would make changes. I just didn't think he'd give you the satisfaction of agreeing with you publicly. Colin, let's roll the footage. And especially after the season's over, they will self-scout, they'll self-evaluate, they'll do a healthy self-inventory, and there'll be a laundry list of things they want to change. But what he's not going to do, because it's not in him to do it, is stand there and let you bang on him. He's too prideful a guy. Could it be a flaw sometimes? Yeah, I guess it could. And so what I'm not going to do is allow myself to stand there and take it from you. And I'm not going to say, well, you're right. Well, you're right. Well, you're right. It's just not the way it's going to work. It wouldn't work that way with me at Pate State. It doesn't work that way with him at Clemson. But that doesn't mean you may not be right. That doesn't mean he may not see it the same way you do. That doesn't mean some of the changes that you and I and many other people think he needs to make, he doesn't agree with and may not be well on his way to trying to make. He's just not going to give you the satisfaction of publicly admitting it. It's a great point, Josh. I appreciate it. So back to live programming here. Everybody thought they were going to get Garrett Riley. Miami fans wanted him. Bama fans wanted him. Clemson folks are going to get him. Now, I don't know who did and didn't offer him, but I know Clemson did, and I know they're going to land him. By the way, we do have some reaction pouring in from places like Tuscaloosa. If you just want to take a look at this right quick, if you're listening on podcast, they're handling it every bit as well as you would expect them to. Quote, not to be dramatic, but hearing Garrett Riley possibly to Clemson while we still have Bill O'Brien on payroll makes me want to take a bath with a toaster. Roll Tide roll. Exactly how I would expect it. Now, for the record, our good, close, personal friend who is also just one of the more annoying people on the planet, Tim Watts. Love to hate that guy. But Timothy, I saw talking earlier today about this. He doesn't think that Bama was ever really in it for Garrett Riley. For the record, I never heard Bama in it for Garrett Riley. I blindly guessed on the show, hey, maybe they'll go after Garrett Riley. What I am still ultra confident in is Alabama's going to eventually hire an offensive coordinator not named Bill O'Brien, and I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. Well, pretty imminently. But it's not going to be Garrett Riley because he's going to Clemson. Now, the best coaches can do this stuff. The best coaches can assess and then realize where they made a mistake and then correct. And the best coaches, the best programs have the resources to really go and get pretty much whoever they want to. Dabo Swinney did that. So remember, you throw around the word stubborn all the time, set in his ways. I've been in that camp. I've thought he's been slow to react. I thought these coordinator moves he made last year, especially the offensive coordinator move, thought he could have done a lot better. He disagreed at the time. It turns out 1-0, JP versus Dabo. Now, he will end up blowing me out when we come to disagreeing on aspects of his program. Just so happened that some of us were right about this and he was wrong. Credit him for realizing it. He put out a statement today, which I'm paraphrasing, said, I'm the leader of this program. I got to take responsibility. We're not doing good enough here. I got to make a move. It probably ate him up to do this. Ate him up. Dabo, you know Dabo Swinney. You've listened to him talk for a long time. That is a dude who believes in every move he makes, and he's got a me against the world mentality. This is a guy who wakes up in the morning believing the world is out to get him just because the sun came up. So to have to acquiesce here, to have to cave and fire a guy who most people said he shouldn't have elevated to begin with, that wasn't easy. And he did it anyway. I know that sounds like the minimum requirement out there to run a program. I'm just telling you, knowing that guy from a distance, like I have observed, because that's the only way I could know him, I know that wasn't easy. So credit Dabo Swinney. They just made a big move, and I know Christmas was like 3 weeks ago, but brother, Christmas is tomorrow for Cade Klubnik. Because if this thing gets finalized tomorrow, Cade Klubnik is the most blessed quarterback in the United States of America to get paired up with Garrett Riley. Now, how about we diversify that wide receiver room a little bit? That could be the next task. Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure to leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.